Hey guys, it's Taco. Welcome to the Game Spiral. I finally got it. Baldur's Gate 3. After avoiding the internet in fear of spoilers with the same amount of energy and gusto as AAA devs denying new industry standards, I can finally play the game that has been taking the gaming scene by its D20s. You know what? That's on me. Getting to the title screen, I'm greeted with some truly fantastic graphics and some slightly musical screaming coming from the background. My anticipation is growing and my excitement is rapid. Oh! Oh god, please no. Oh! To the horror of all gamers everywhere, I'm going to enable the tutorial. Character creation. What should I make? This is supposed to be based off of D&D, so what could be more fitting than I cast Fireball as a person? Spellslinger it is. I go Wizard and choose a Tiefling since the idea is to be setting shit on fire anytime I'm even slightly displeased. If I'm going to be standing in a fire, I may as well have fire resistance. After a bit of facelifting, I select some spells and look for as much arson potential, flame damage, as is available to me. After that, it's just a quick name and I'm ready to go. After the tentacle ship gently caresses the city below, we teleport to what I can only assume is hell. It is here that I am finally able to escape my pod and control my character. The first thing I do is figure out how to move. The second thing I do is investigate the thing the eye worms came out of. The third thing I do is explode. This game is beautiful. Next, I enter my first sphincter. As I wander around the next room, I find a talking brain. No, not a person with a brain, although there was a person attached to said brain, but a brain that was able to speak without the use of said person. I unsuccessfully attempt to extract it from the skull and end up just squishing it to prevent the Mindflayers from getting to it. Moving on, I almost got assaulted by this grumpy crane bitch via a pointy metal stick. After we share a quick migraine, she decides to team up with me so we can get off the tentacle barge. Now I can enter a sphincter with a friend. Before we get far though, I find a rather transparent gachapod. After thinking at the nearby console really hard, the pod opens up and an elf chick pops out of it with a graceful swan dive. A bit of mouth flapping and racism later, and I have a cleric on the team. In another room, I find a brain with legs. Once again, I do not mean a person, but a literal brain with legs. Once I caught up to it, it gave me a compliment.
You are beautiful.
It was kinda cute, actually. I also found another gachapod and went and played with the console, but I wasn't so lucky this time. With that done, I make my way to the head of the ship and find a small war zone consisting of puppies, imps, and a tentacle face with one very big, very angry looking tiefling. Our mission was to get to the control panel and get the ship out of here while the Mindflayer held off the tiefling. I try being clever and use one of my spell slots to summon a mage hand to rush over and use the console for me. Disappointingly, it did not work. So we went back to the original plan of excessive violence. I got a bit nervous when the Mindflayer went down and Big Daddy said I was next.
Your turn now.
But we got to the console before he got to us. In true MC fashion, I take control of the ship and land us safely on the ground, all while taking a nap. Once I woke up, I found myself on the beach. After looting a corpse, I find my elf and wake her up. Just up the path, we go on a bit of a looting spree after seeing all the barrels, packs, and bodies. Just up the path, we find 3 of the brains, and these ones are not as friendly as the first one. You'd think a mage and a cleric could handle 3 pink, squishy, knee-high brains, but no. We get absolutely bodied. I did not save before the fight, nor did I get an autosave. So I once again wake the elf, loot the stuff, fight the brains. This time I managed to put up a good fight, but still went down to my own stupidity trying to run away without disengaging first. Wake the elf, loot the stuff, fight the brains, kill the brains. That was much more trouble than it should have been, but I got a level out of it, so I'm content. As I once again desecrate the dead, I find a tentacle daddy laying on the ground. While looking at it, the game made a funny.
You could end its life here and now, if only you didn't feel compassion.
The fuck I do! After that fun encounter, I find a rock with a small black hole. Staying true to my nature, I stick my hand in it. And this time, not only do I not explode, but I pull a mage out of this thing. Once I recruited him, I moved on to some ruins and immediately pissed off this child, I mean halfling.
The only thing we're sharing with you is our pointy ends. Get him!
At this point, I realized I fucked up. At some point, I had separated the elf from the rest of the party and left her all the way back at the remains of the ship where I fought the brains. Thankfully, everyone was kind enough to just stand still while she ran the mile-long trek to rejoin the fight. It was a bit of a tough fight, with this damn rogue being the toughest of the lot to kill. But eventually we won. Time for a rest before I bleed out with my 1 HP. I decide to talk to my companions before taking said nap. Gale decided to greet me like my real friends do.
Go to hell.
While Shadowheart shows off some prejudice.
I'd be careful with Gale. He's a wizard. All they care about is power.
Bitch, I'm a mage! The next morning, I find Lazille in a cage and decide to get her down despite the fact that I don't like her. Seeing as how Mage's Hand didn't seem to be able to help me with this task, I resorted to the tried and true method of violence. Once we got her down, not only did she continue to be rude, she even refused to give a simple thank you.
You may as well suggest a wyvern bow to worms.
So I sent her to go sit at camp and think about her attitude while she was in timeout. As we continue exploring without the Grinch bitch, we come across some guys running from goblins and get to meet this guy.
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
After staying a safe distance back and slinging spells at the goblins, we clear them out and get into camp.
That was the last of them. Inside! All of you! More may follow!
We watch the human lay out the tiefling. Once he wakes up, he asks me to talk to the landlords to stop them from evicting everybody.
I know it's not your business, but she owes you for saving this place.
Even though they did just bring a pack of goblins to the door. After getting my ass handed to me through a mix of my own stupidity and simply not knowing what I was doing, I have managed to get to a safe location. Next episode, we'll explore the camp and see what we can do about the eviction notices.